Hello and welcome back to the daily edition of Into Vietnam, exclusively on VITV channel. In today's program, we'll look at the following stories. The Eurocharm survey shows improvements in European firms' confidence in Vietnam business environment. Local businesses still face challenges in accessing bank loans. The 14th European Chamber of Commerce in Vietnam, or Eurocharm Business Climate Index, released on February the 25th, showed that business confidence and outlook among European businesses in Vietnam has remarkably improved. For the first time since 2012, the index has exceeded the 50-point threshold to reach 59 points, affirming European enterprises' confidence in the Vietnamese market. According to Eurocharm, the remarkable rise is likely due to the increasing optimism in the business outlook, falling inflation concern, and hope for the conclusion of a feasible and effective free trade agreement between Vietnam and the EU. Nearly half of the business involved in the survey operate in the service sector, 1/4 in the manufacturing sector, 1/5 in trade, and the remaining in other sectors. The number of respondents reporting satisfactory business outcomes rose from 30% last quarter to 45%. This showed that business operations have much improved. In related news, a Japan External Trade Organization or JETRO survey shows that 70% of Japanese firms investing in Vietnam plan to expand their operations to capitalize on investment preferences. Most of them explain the reason behind the expansion plans is to increase sales revenues. In particular, non-manufacturing enterprises are attracted by Vietnam's steady growth and potential market. The country also has an abundant supply of labor and socio-political stability. However, the JETRO report points out high risk the Vietnamese investment climate incurs, most concerning legislation, administrative procedures, taxation policies, custom procedures, and labor cost. On the other hand, the localization rate in made-in-Vietnam products is rather low, at 32.2%, compared to 64% in China, 53% in Thailand, 42% in Malaysia, and 41% in Indonesia. Capital resources are reported to be quite abundant in bank, and lending interest rates are expected to be cut down this year. However, firms say they still have a lot of difficulties in getting access to bank loans. More insights in our business report. The Kim Yen Import-Export Limited companies promotes French milk products in Vietnam. Since 2012, it has established 6 showrooms in the south of Vietnam and distributed imported products to chemical stores in the north. Amid changeable milk prices, the company needs banks' financial support so that it can obey the government's 3-year milk price stabilization program and meet demand in 13 southwestern provinces. It has negotiated with banks many times and was listed among prioritized groups in 2012, but it has failed to borrow from banks.
Thực sự thì về Việt Nam tới bây giờ thì mình chỉ có thể làm với vốn của mình tự có, chứ mà nói về ngân hàng thì cũng chưa đụng đồng nào của ngân hàng hết. Tại vì mỗi lần mà mượn vay vốn hay cái gì đều rất là khó khăn, chứ không phải là dễ. Hiện tại thì tôi vẫn theo cái hướng của mình là cái vốn của mình bao nhiêu thì mình làm bấy nhiêu, chứ tôi cũng chưa trông chờ vào ngân hàng. Tại vì ngân hàng họ chưa có một cái động thái giống như là cố gắng để mà giúp đỡ doanh nghiệp mình.
The Ministry of Planning and Investment reported total lending of Vietnamese banks as of January the 20th slid 1.21%, while deposits in banks contracted 0.98% from the same period last year. It's reasoned that negative credit growth at the beginning of the year is not unusual, as investment is limited in this time. In the meantime, people often rush to withdraw the money for holiday expenditure. Despite that fact, firms said access to bank loans is limited, which is the main reason for low credit growth.
Nói doanh nghiệp nói chung, tổng cái doanh nghiệp nói chung, từ doanh nghiệp vừa nhỏ, doanh nghiệp siêu nhỏ, doanh nghiệp lớn thì các ngân hàng thì theo tôi biết thì họ tăng trưởng khoảng 0,5% trong cái giai đoạn từ đầu năm đến giờ. Thì đây là một tỷ lệ nó không nhiều so với những giai đoạn cuối năm của chúng tôi. Ví dụ như cuối năm 2013 thì có những tháng chúng tôi tăng trưởng khoảng 2 đến 3% một tháng. Tuy nhiên thì đầu năm một cái mức tăng trưởng 0,8% là chấp nhận được với cái tình hình là các doanh nghiệp đang phải xây dựng lại kế hoạch kinh doanh cũng như là xây dựng những kế hoạch hành động của mình, đồng thời cũng đang tìm kiếm những hợp đồng do ngân sách.
Early this year, the State Bank of Vietnam affirms lending interest rate would be trimmed down by 1 to 2%. The bank will continue measures to support commercial ones, expand credit effectively, and boost lending for prioritized sectors. Commercial banks are also directed to support firms, helping to remove the challenges and boosting production and business activities. However, Dr. Chan Du-lik said there's a gap between banks' direction and their actual lending activities.
Cái việc mà kéo giảm lãi suất với cái khả năng tiếp cận tín dụng của một bộ phận doanh nghiệp nó có một khoảng cách của nó. Ví dụ như là không phải doanh nghiệp nào cũng có thể tiếp cận được cái lãi suất thấp. Bởi vì ví dụ như tình trạng là cái tình hình tài chính hay là cái nợ xấu của doanh nghiệp, thành ra phải nói rằng cái tình trạng mà chúng ta nói suốt 2013 đó là tình trạng thừa tiền, thiếu vốn vẫn còn tiếp tục chứ chưa thể chấm dứt được. Khi mà cái giải quyết vấn đề nợ xấu, cái điểm nghẽn của hấp thụ tín dụng là chưa có giải quyết được căn bản.
Apart from collaterals and financial capacity, bad debts will remain an obstacle for firms to make bank loans. The issue needs dealing with to boost lending for firms. Dr. Chan Du-lik believes the matter cannot be solved early this year, but will gradually be cleared out in 2014-2015 period. The transport sectors have mobilized resources to invest in Build-Operate Transfer or BOT, Build Transfer or BT, and Public-Private Partnership or PP projects in various fields. According to the TPP department under the Ministry of Transport, the ministry has so far managed 56 projects of these kinds with total investment of 165 trillion dong, or nearly $7.8 billion. The MOT has focused on promoting the BOT projects on National Highways number 1 and 14 by accelerating the completion of procedures related to investment license and signing of projects and credit contracts. The PPP projects will be divided into phases, with the first one prioritized while BT infrastructure projects will be refunded by using land, operating the other projects in combination with local economic development. The ministry has directed its agency to further promote investment and provide adequate and prompt information on BOT, BT, and PPP projects. Over 700 projects in economic zones and industrial parks across Vietnam have had their investment licenses revoked or stopped operation in 2013. According to the National Steering Committee for Economic Zones and Industrial Parks Development, these projects accounted for about 10% of total investment projects in economic zones and industrial parks across the country. According to the committee report last year, as many as 161 projects worth $488 million had their licenses revoked, with a further 203 projects with $637.7 million stopping operations. Another 344 projects did not start or were unable to begin operations. Among 289 industrial zones in the country, 149 have a filling rate of 60%, 117 have a filling rate between 20 and 60%, and the remaining 23 are in the stage of seeking investment projects. The Mekong Delta province of Kiên Giang will work to attract at least 4 million tourist arrivals, including 185,000 international ones in 2014. The locality also targets 1.3 trillion dong or $61.1 million from tourism. In order to reach the goal, many comprehensive measures will be deployed, including increasing investment promotion and enhancing campaigns to introduce and strengthen its tourism trademark. In addition, the province will also focus on upgrading the infrastructure of the tourism sector, while continuing its cooperation with neighboring localities, as well as those in the Mekong Delta economic region, to boost tourism development. Market shares of Vietnam's major export to the European Union is expected to rise, as exporters will enjoy preferential treatment under the Bloc Generalized System of Preferences or GSP.
From 2014 onward, more Vietnamese products, including footwear, may gain further benefits under the new GSP regulations. The EU published its amended GSP regulations in October 2012, and they came into effect at the beginning of this year. The regulations are aimed at facilitating market access for goods originating from developing countries, including Vietnam. Vietnam will remain among the list of countries eligible to enjoy preferential treatment under the EU GSP, with a number of favorable tariffs. It's estimated that the export market share of coffee, tea, and spices will increase from the current 12% to 22% because of the new GSP. Exports of seafood will increase from 9.9% to 19%, while the exports of shoes will rise to 34%. GSP rules will improve Vietnam's access to the EU market, speed industrialization, create jobs, and increase incomes, as well as contribute to economic growth.
And now it's time for some other foreign trade news.
According to statistics of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, exports of agricultural, forestry, and fisheries products in February 2014 are estimated at $2.08 billion, bringing the export value of the sector in the first 2 months this year to $433 billion, an increase of 9.4% compared to the same period in 2013. Specifically, export value of key agricultural products is estimated at $1.73 billion, down 20.5%. Seafood export value at $915 million, up 23.5%, and export value of the main forestry products at $837 million, up 30.2% compared to the same period in 2013. Notably, a number of key agricultural products such as rice, coffee, and rubber has not prospered over the same periods last year.
Last but not least, in today's programs is the update on local gold prices, forex, and stock markets. Well, that's all for this edition of Into Vietnam. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you soon this time tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.